Welcome back, everybody. We have a great segment here. We have one of my favorite attorneys. We have Mr. Joel Weissler in the house, who, again, is an elder law, estate planning, and a probate attorney that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. Hello, Joel.
Hey, before we go to Joel, I hate to interrupt, Joel. We got to finish talking to Dr. Samantha
Madhosingh.
Or Madhosingh?
Madhosingh.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So because we kind of left that hanging because we had to go to the break. So sorry, Joel, here, but let's something. So, like you mentioned, run like a girl, and that's considered negative, right?
Yep.
So being a kid,
we call girls bossy.
Yeah, girls bossy can be considered negative, right? And so, I guess, what do we do instead, right? We shouldn't use those negative words, right?
No, absolutely,
right? Because those things can be taken bad to both men and women, or boys and girls.
Boys and girls, yes.
Right.
That's contributing to the conditioning, right?
And
so the conditioning of, being a girl is somehow weaker, wrong, not as strong in so many ways.
Right. And even though, as a person of faith who believes in God, I believe God made us different. It doesn't mean we have to draw those lines and speak about that, right? In a negative tone. I guess I'm trying to make, because
we are different.
Because we are going to be different in many ways. And I think society, as you're right, just has conditioned us over these years that it was okay for boys and now men to say certain stuff.
Right.
And even our own president, who's been clearly, still saying stuff that's probably not proper, but definitely going into the election, said all kinds of stuff that I think people on the left and the right were upset about. So we just have to, I think the key from learning is be careful what you say. Think about it. We got to program our minds sometimes to actually think before we speak.
Hallelujah.
My wife's been telling me that for 28 years, right? Yep. And so that's something we just really have to do.
Yeah.
And I think that itself will help. And like you mentioned, even with me being a hugger, just ask for permission.
Yes.
And if we notice, hey, if there's a hesitation, hey, it's okay. You don't need a hug.
Yeah, I think it's, with kids. So for me, the most important thing is how we are raising the next generation. And, I became super passionate about this, raising a daughter and wanting, her experience of the world to be different from mine and women of my generation and older. And so, teaching her to not be a bystander, to speak up, to stand, to be willing to stand up and say, well, that's not right. Whether it's a boy or another girl, whatever it is, I think that's what we should be teaching our girls and boys. When we teach kids to be seen and not heard, we're teaching them to be quiet. When we teach them that adults know everything and they know nothing, we're teaching them if somebody does something to them, then they shouldn't speak up about it, right? So you have to be very mindful of the things that we grew up with, and continuing to teach those to our younger population. It's not working. It's what's created the situation that it stands right now.
Great points. So all right. So Joel, what's Joel's expertise here? I just wanted to make sure we wrapped up on that. Joel, did you want to mention anything on the, because you have a nice daughter, and you were talking about during the break that she's a princess and a warrior.
She is. She loves her Taekwondo classes. She loves everything from acting to sports. On the baseball team with her twin brother, she's there. She's
got to be strong working with that. Or is that even saying something right? I don't know. I'm thinking just kind of came out. So you got to be strong with the twin brother, right? Like, there's going to be stuff there. But am I offending anybody possibly by saying that?
It's not even offending. It is just understanding that she could be strong anyway.
Right.
It's not just in relation to having a brother or just because she has a brother. Girls can be strong too, and boys can be emotional and, nurturing and still be manly and masculine.
But my practice primarily deals with families and family dynamics, and that really feeds into it. In the elder care area, it's, does mom take care of dad? He's likely to be less healthy sooner. Does daughter step in and watch the surviving parent or help out? Who brings them to doctor's appointments? What is the dynamic there? And quite a bit of the practice is looking at what those stresses are in a family and how can we look at other resources to reduce that stress. Sometimes we have sons who are the ones that are stepping up. Sometimes it's daughters. Whether culturally and ethnically, they tend to be more patrilocal, living near the son's family, or matrilocal, living near the daughter's family. it makes a big difference. And many people don't know. They dive into the caregiving role because outside care is perceived as being so expensive that a nest egg that somebody's built up their whole lifetime can disappear in a flash. But there are resources. If someone was a wartime veteran, for instance, there's money that's available, about $2,000 a month, to pay for in-home care or to help pay for assisted living. People don't know that's there. And yes, a family has to rearrange their financial affairs and how they hold things to qualify in most cases. But that's available. There are programs available for in-home care through in-home supportive services, which is through Medi-Cal, but someone can preserve their assets, shift them, qualify for that, up to 283 hours a month of in-home care.
Wow.
And that takes the relief off of the daughters, the sons, the spouses. The number of husbands and wives who are exhausted that come into my office because they can't take care of their spouses is amazing. And the relief they get when they realize we're not going to have to give up our home, we're not going to run out of money, and we can get the care we need.
So that's your practice. You focus on helping those families actually put a plan that makes sense, that will financially, by utilizing all the opportunities that are out there. Like you said, so many people don't know the things that are out there. So if you go to a professional, what's your exact title, Joel?
Well, I'm an attorney. I'm an elder law attorney. I'm an estate planner. Not all estate planners are also elder law attorneys,
right,
but all elder law attorneys are estate planners.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it starts out with control. Many people think that estate planning is all about death, and it's not. It's about life.
Yeah.
It's providing for the control that you want your family to have if you can't exercise control yourself, whether it's because you're missing and are displaced because of a fire. Terrible things are happening there. That brings it back in, or whether it's that you're in the hospital, whether you've died. How do you control the assets? How do you have your parenting wishes pass on? And it used to be that we did lots of trusts for people to avoid probate, and they dumped out as soon as the parents died. Now we realize, well, those assets are important. We don't want to have them at risk. We probably want to put in place a structure that continues expressing a parent's values after they're gone and preserves those assets to be used for what they want them to be used for by the children or grandchildren, whether it's education or nowadays it's often retirement. The parents had a good retirement plan. We roll things back 20 years and 60 or 70% of all Americans had access to a retirement plan. Now that's less than a third. So those monies for retirement aren't there. The legacy from the parents or grandparents now has become doubly important.
So you're in that example, you're saying if you want to, you could leave your estate or a percentage of it to your kids or whoever your
beneficiary.
Thank you. Beneficiaries might be for the retirement. So you might be like, hey, this bulk of money is going to help you at retirement age, or where you're maybe physically aren't able to take care of yourself, right? You guys probably put in some type of legal terms on that.
Absolutely. And we set up the standards. So, Steve, myself, actually, I think all of us here are what we call the sandwich generation. We've got relatively young kids, and we've got parents we're taking care of. If something happens to me, my in-laws, are going to need potentially help down the road. I know that. They may not. It's good to be there for them. But my kids, what's going to happen to them? I don't want them to receive everything when they're 18. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe we provide for their education. Many people set it up. We provide for their health education support, maybe at a student level until they finish college. What after that? If I let them then have a lump sum of money, if my wife and I are gone, that gives them a great incentive to not work, to not build a work ethic.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So I might write into a trust, okay, instead of giving it to them outright, let's match their income 50 cents on the dollar or dollar for dollar and distribute the money out that way so they still are encouraged to work, but we make it a little bit easier on them.
Well, just like anything, when anybody hasn't really discovered what it takes to earn that kind of money, once they get it in a lump sum, it's like they hit the lottery. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, you've probably seen this several times in your career.
They want it right now.
Money, right? Yeah. They want to blow it
right
now. They want to blow it.
And that's the younger generation. And I think even when we were all younger, I can tell you this, my wife got a couple different trust funds. Once she got all of it at 18, was gone by the time she was 21, right? Gone. 3 years, 18, never worked, never had anything. We're like $100,000 gone.
3 out of 4 inheritances are gone within 3 years, and that includes IRA money that could have been stretched over a lifetime.
Wow.
But we can protect it.
So we can protect it. So that's the key there. I know we're going up against a break again here, Steve, but I want Joel to talk about how he can protect that when we come back. Things like, just like we talked about, you're saying 75% are gone in 3 years. So if you've got funds, you're going to have funds, you want to make certain they're going to be there for your beneficiaries, whoever those beneficiaries might be. There's plans and stuff to do. That's what Joel, his expertise in, is helping you actually estate plan for that. And there's ways to protect that so your wishes are done. And your kids might not be happy, but they're going to be wealthy, so they don't blow it right away if we set those plans aside.
Short-term unhappiness for long-term
Exactly.
No, they'll still be happy. And hopefully they're not
right?
fighting with each other. And setting up the right structure to avoid fights is equally important.
All right, let's talk about that right back from the break. Again, you're listening to AM 1170, and this is Whissel Wednesday.